The U.S. is in shock after fatal vehicle attacks in Las Vegas and New Orleans. Updates on the government's efforts to eradicate subdivided flats. Local retail sales fall for the 9th month in a row. Good evening, I'm Melissa Hekalea, and you're watching TVB News. The U.S. has been rocked by 2 fatal attacks involving trucks, including one that exploded in front of a Trump hotel in Las Vegas. In New Orleans, 15 people were killed after a U.S. Army veteran drove a pickup truck that bore the flag of ISIS through one of the most crowded areas in the city. The police said multiple parties were involved in the attack. Daniel Rao tells us more.
The incident happened around 3:15 a.m. local time at the intersection of Bourbon Street and Iberville, the French Quarter, which is one of the most crowded areas of New Orleans and the heart of the city's tourism industry. The suspect, who's been identified by the FBI as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar, a U.S. citizen and Army veteran living in Houston, drove a rented pickup truck onto a pavement going around a police car that was positioned to block vehicular traffic. A barrier system meant to prevent vehicle attacks was being repaired in preparation for the Super Bowl in February. Jabbar was killed by police after he exited the truck and opened fire on responding officers. 3 officers returned fire, 2 officers were shot and are in stable condition. Investigators found guns and what appeared to be an improvised explosive device in the vehicle, which bore the flag of the Islamic State group along with other explosive devices elsewhere in the New Orleans French Quarter. The FBI said it did not believe he acted alone. US President Joe Biden called the attack a despicable and heinous act. He also commented on potential links between the suspect and ISIS.
Our hearts are with the people of New Orleans after the despicable attack that occurred in the early morning hours. The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possible explosives were found in the vehicle as well, and more explosives were found nearby.
Wednesday's attack in New Orleans is the latest example of a vehicle being used as a weapon to carry out mass violence. The trend has alarmed law enforcement officials because such attacks can be difficult to protect against. Last month, a 50-year-old Saudi doctor plowed into a Christmas market teeming with holiday shoppers in the German city of Magdeburg, killing 4 women and a 9-year-old boy. Daniel Rao, TV News.
A Tesla Cybertruck exploded in flames outside the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas on Wednesday, killing the driver and injuring 7 others. The FBI is investigating whether the blast is an act of terrorism or whether it's related to the attack in New Orleans. Tracy Furness has more.
Tesla Cybertruck.
Videos taken by eyewitnesses inside and outside the hotel showed the vehicle exploding and flames pouring out of it as it sat outside the entrance of the Trump International Hotel in Las Vegas. Officials said that 1 person died inside the futuristic-looking pickup truck and 7 people nearby suffered minor injuries.
We had three explosions. The first one, where we saw the fire. The second one was, I guess, the battery or something like that. And the third one was the big explosion that smoked the entire area. And it was the moment that everybody that was near was told to evacuate, to stay further away.
By late Wednesday afternoon, authorities were still looking to get the body out of the Tesla Cybertruck and start processing the evidence inside. Firework mortars and camp fuel canisters were found stuffed into the back of the truck.
Our number 1 goal is to ensure that we have the proper identification of the subject involved in this incident. Following that, our second objective is to determine whether this was an act of terrorism or not.
We know that Elon Musk is working with President-elect Trump, and it's the Trump Tower, so there's obviously things to be concerned about there, and that's something we continue to look at.
Sheriff Matt Mahill also said that video captured at Tesla charging stations provided by CEO Elon Musk helped authorities track the vehicle's journey, arriving in Las Vegas about 7:30 a.m. About half an hour later, it is driven into the valet area of Trump International Hotel, where it sat 15 to 20 seconds before the explosion. Musk wrote on X, "We have confirmed that the explosion was caused by very large fireworks or a bomb carried in the bed of the rented Cybertruck and is unrelated to the vehicle itself." Musk added the entire Tesla senior team is looking into the issue. A law enforcement official said the truck was rented via the Turo app. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
Back locally, the government has begun a stakeholder consultation for the regulations of basic housing units. Secretary for Housing Winnie Ho said the policy could phase out more than 30,000 substandard subdivided units. Jackie Lin reports.
Under the government's proposal, new subdivided units entering the rental market must become basic housing units. The minimum requirements: a floor area no less than 8 square meters. The unit should come with a window and a toilet as well. In her article published in the South China Morning Post, Secretary for Housing Winnie Ho said among the city's 110,000 subdivided units, 33,000 shoebox dwellings with poor living conditions should be targeted for eradication. While some could be brought up to standard with modification works, Ho expects eventually there will be around 80,000 basic housing units available in the market. Meanwhile, authorities will set an 18-month registration period for landlords of these units. The registration period will begin around the fourth quarter this year at the earliest. The grace period for landlords to upgrade the units will last for 2 years. Assistant Professor Chen Xiuming, who studies property and housing, however, expects even more subdivided units being eliminated from the market. Chen estimates that could push up the rent of such units by 10 to 30%. He hopes the government could offer financial relief to affected tenants.
There are nice public housing and also transitional housing, but I think that's not enough because more than 30,000 and even 40,000 of 50,000 SDU households may be affected. So that I think the government may provide more option for the people to be allocated. For example, building some singleton hospital in different districts in Hong Kong.
The Secretary for Housing also said district service teams will be dispatched to help relocated households find suitable alternative residences. They include transitional housing and light public housing. The stakeholder consultation on the basic housing units regulatory regime will end on February 10th. The government is working to pass a draft of the regulations within 2025. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
The value of Hong Kong's total retail sales in November decreased by 7.3% year-on-year. That has marked the 9th consecutive month of decline. The value of total retail sales was provisionally estimated at $31.7 billion. Notably, motor vehicles and parts plunged nearly 35% in sales. Furniture and fixtures dropped more than 20%. Looking ahead, a government spokesperson said the change in consumption patterns and the relatively strong Hong Kong dollar will continue to weigh on the retail sector. But measures including the resumption and expansion of the multiple entry individual visit scheme for Shenzhen residents, together with the SAR government's initiatives, could help boost spending. There has been a 26% absence rate over the first 2 days since the adoption of an online lottery system for registrations of the public dental sessions. Sources say the government is considering setting up a punishment mechanism and a waiting list for the service. Timothy Lee tells us more.
Since the implementation of the online lottery system for dental general public sessions on Monday, elderly residents can make registrations via the eHealth app or Department of Health website. But for many seniors, the digital process is difficult. For instance, 92-year-old Mr. Lau said he doesn't know how to use the new electronic platform. He added he needs to ask district councilors for help whenever he makes a registration. But a successful registration does not guarantee a visit to the dentist, as that depends on the results of the online lottery system. On the first day after the adoption of the new electronic platform, 686 people registered for the public dental service, despite a quota of just 88. 26 failed to attend their sessions. The dental clinic in Xinhuan saw the highest rate of absence at over 30%. Sources said the government intends to adopt a punishment mechanism as well as a waiting list to prevent further absences. This, as the Society for Community Organization, or SOCO, stressed many senior citizens often miss their sessions because of hospitalization, and that authorities should check whether the absences are for legitimate reasons. According to the current system, residents could call a hotline to inquire about available sessions if there are available quotas. Meanwhile, lawmaker Rebecca Chan said authorities should find out earlier about the absence rate each day and notify others about the vacancies. Timothy Lee, TVB News.
The Lunar New Year is a few weeks away. Hong Kong's 3 note-issuing banks will launch banknote exchange services with new or good-as-new banknotes for red packets from January 14th to 28th. The Hong Kong Monetary Authority said branches at HSBC, Standard Chartered, and Bank of China will open earlier at 8 a.m. on the 14th to 16th. The first hour will be exclusively devoted to banknote exchange services. Online appointment booking for both new and good-as-new notes will also be available starting next Tuesday. The HKMA is also encouraging the public to make use of electronic payment methods, including the faster payment system or other e-wallet services. That's to help promote sustainable development. Starting today, the number of applications of the scheme of northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles to be processed on each working day will be increased from 400 to 500. The Transport Department said the increase is aimed at better meeting the demand for new applications and renewals for Hong Kong vehicles heading north. The eligibility, procedures, and balloting arrangements of the scheme remain unchanged. The streamlined renewal arrangements implemented since May last year will also be continued. It allows applicants eligible to apply for renewal without having to participate in a computer ballot. Still ahead, potential prize of $100 million in tonight's Mark 6 draw. 15 incidents of illegal fireworks reported during the New Year's Eve and New Year period. And at least 12 people killed in mass shooting in Montenegro. Welcome back. The Mark 6 New Year snowball draw will take place tonight with a first prize of up to $100 million for tickets priced at $10. Anip has the story.
The Hong Kong Jockey Club's off-course betting branch on Stanley Street in Central opened at 11 a.m. today, an hour earlier than usual, something that happens whenever there is a hefty lottery prize. This branch is known as the luckiest betting station, with over 40 first prize winners in the past. This ticket buyer arrived early to avoid crowds and said he believes all numbers have the same probability of helping him win prizes. He also said if he wins the biggest prize, he would like to buy property or cars, which he felt are common aspirations for most people. Another ticket buyer shared his lucky numbers and how he would like to do good deeds with the prize money.
Well, birthday numbers, right? The births of my children, myself, all that great stuff. Well, I think I'd help others, people less fortunate. Yeah, just what feels right in my heart.
One woman also said she would like to help the less privileged with money from the big prize, though she has no confidence in winning it.
Do some charities and enjoy with my families. So big money, I think everyone should do something for the charity.
One ticket buyer confirmed that this betting center in Central is indeed the luckiest branch. He said he won a prize at the center 40 years ago, the reason why he was back to place his bets. He also said if he were to win, he planned on sharing half of the money with his wife. Since May last year, the Jockey Club allocated more funds to the Snowball Lottery Pool Reserve. This gradually increased the number of snowball draws from about 7 to 12 rounds a year. Tonight's betting will close at 9:15 p.m., with the draw taking place 15 minutes later.
In Hong Kong, whenever a big jackpot is available in the Mark 6 lottery, very often more people decide to buy. Although few ticket buyers queued outside the betting center this morning, the flow of ticket buyers steadily increased throughout the day as more people arrived to try their luck. And TVB News.
15 incidents of residents setting off illegal fireworks during New Year's Eve and New Year's Day were reported, according to the police. Social media clips from local residents saw fireworks released into the air between residential buildings in Taipo. Fireworks could also be seen from a walled village in Tuen Mun, and sparklers were lit by some. The police said reports of suspected illegal firework displays occurred in areas such as Yuen Long, Sha Tin, and Wan Chai. They condemned these dangerous acts that disregard public safety. According to the Dangerous Goods Ordinance, fireworks and firecrackers are classified as explosives. Unauthorized possession and usage can result in fines and prison sentences. Overseas, impeached South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol defied arrest inside his residence and vowed to fight to the end against anti-state forces. This after a Seoul court issued a detainment warrant against Yoon over his ill-fated martial law decree. Crowds of supporters and opponents of Yoon camped outside Yoon's residence in Seoul as the defiant president resisted arrest for a third day. Yoon, who remained inside the presidential compound, said in a statement passed around to protesters that he would fight to the very end to protect the nation. Yoon's legal team has warned that police officers attempting to detain him could face arrest by his presidential security service or even civilians. In Montenegro, at least 12 people, including 2 children, were killed in a mass shooting on Wednesday. Danny Cho has the story.
After the incident, forensics and police officers were working at the scene of the shooting rampage in Bajes village, near the western Montenegrin city of Cetinje. Bloodstains were still visible on the pavement. Roads in and out of the town were cordoned off. State media of Montenegro reported a man was at a bar with other guests on Wednesday when a brawl erupted. The man went home, brought back a weapon, and opened fire at around 5:30 p.m., killing 4 people at the bar. He then headed out and gunned down others at 3 more locations, according to the police commissioner. The attacker was identified as 45-year-old Alko Martinovic, who had been detained in the past for illegal possession of weapons. Police released a mugshot of Martinovic after he fled the scene with arms. Martinovic later attempted to commit suicide near his home in Cetinje as he was cornered by police. He had succumbed from the severity of his injuries and died when being transported to hospital, as confirmed by the country's interior minister. Officials said Martinovic fatally shot the bar's owner, the owner's children, and his family members. At least 4 others were seriously wounded. One of the victims' relatives said they didn't know who the shooter was and were all shocked by the incident. Montenegro's prime minister has described the shooting as a horrific tragedy and announced 3 days of mourning starting on Thursday. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
North Korea earlier staged New Year's Eve performances in its capital city, Pyongyang, to usher in 2025. North Korea's top leader, Kim Jong-un, and his daughter, Kim Joo-ae, were seen walking hand in hand into the May Day Stadium in Pyongyang to enjoy the performances. The audience broke into loud cheers when Kim appeared. Senior officials were also present. The 2-part show featured ice skating, singing, and dancing performances. And at a trendy coffee roastery in Helsinki, Finland, baristas are brewing up new blends of joe developed by artificial intelligence. Tracy Furness reports.
It's called AI-conic. The blend, an AI-picked mixture of 4 types of beans dominated by Brazil's velvety Fazenda Pinal. This is the end result of a joint project by Kaffa, Finland's 3rd largest coffee roastery, and local AI consultancy, Alev.
We started with
Muraletto and his partners wanted to trial how AI and its different tools could be of help in coffee roasting. AI came up with chosen mixtures of beans from Brazil, Colombia, Ethiopia and Guatemala, and also created the coffee package label and a detailed taste description. It describes AI Iconic as a well-balanced blend of sweetness and ripe fruit. They were surprised that AI chose 4 types of coffee beans to blend instead of the usual 2 or 3, which allows distinction of taste between flavors from different origins. But after the first taste roasting and a blind tasting, the verdict was that the tech-assisted blend was perfect.
First reaction, I think, like most of people here, was a bit like, no way, like not in the roasting, because we use all our senses. We use our smell, we look in the roaster, we hear the roasting.
This may be a call for all practitioners to stay humble, Muraletto said. AI is not going to replace my job, but how could I do my job in a different way? It taught us that AI can help in almost anything, but we still need experts who can maybe look outside the box. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.